Hello and welcome back to the Misty Morrison Podcast. I'm your host, Misty Morrison, and this is episode 74 of Petty Please. Here on the Misty Morrison Podcast, we like to see all stories of pettiness, revenge, bad bosses, bad neighbors, entitlement, all the things. To be grateful, those stories are not our drama. Before we get into our stories for the day, our usual housekeeping. Whether you are new or returning, please remember to engage with content to help the channel grow. Every little bit of online engagement is free and can help build the dream. Wherever you are listening, whether you are on podcast, YouTube, on socials, please give it a heart, a like, thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave a comment with your thoughts on stories, all the things. Subscribing is really one of the biggest things you can do. Long-form content goes live every Tuesday and Thursday on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. Short-form content goes live 3 times daily on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Let's see. All right, story number 1 is coming to us from r/entitled people. And this one is titled, "Oh, extra long because it goes on." Okay, wow. We may have one story today. We're about to find out. Is my friend worth keeping? TLDR. Friend of many years comes and stays with us often and never brings anything to share, doesn't help on our farm, and expects to be entertained. Also comes during the week when we work, which we have expressed is not convenient. Okay, that's already a little bit of background because you have said something about it. It's not just unchecked behavior. I have a longtime friend of 24 years. She has always been someone who graciously accepted offers of going out to dinner when someone else is footing the bill, and was always more than happy to announce that she wanted to order a bunch of appetizers for the table to share that no one expressed interest in, and ordered expensive things on the menu and cocktails or wine. My mom at the time mentioned that she hated my friend because she was a user and acted like this on a couple of occasions when Mom took us all out to dinner. Friend would always say thank you. We were in our 20s, so I just thought it was immaturity. She offered to teach me snowboarding, so I had to buy her a lift ticket, and she would show me the ropes. I drove us up to the resort, bought her ticket, and got about an hour lesson, and she decided I was good to practice, and she ditched me for the rest of the day. I was pretty good because I surf and used to ski, so I did catch on quickly, but that rubbed me the wrong way. We were also staying in my family's cabin right off the slopes for free. Since I had gotten her great help, she informed me it was up to me to treat her to dinner too when we were at the restaurant later. What help? She abandoned you. I moved to SoCal for surf and to help my grandma in failing health, so we did not see each other for years. I ended up marrying my husband and we moved back to the PNW, Pacific Northwest, and started a farm while we both still work as engineers from home. We are crazy busy. She lives still on the island where I met her. Last year, she asked if she could stay with us while she recovered from a hip replacement surgery for a few days in case she has complications. She wants to be on the mainland to be able to see her surgeons or go to the ER. I said we're pretty busy, but she can stay. I'm not in the position of caregiving as I have the farm with a lot of animals and chores and work 40 hours a week in my job. Well, it turns out she needed 24/7 care from me, and it was too late to refuse, but was sneaky about it that I would just have to help her get up off the couch and bed occasionally. I used to be a paramedic and cared for my grandma and mom before they died, as well as all my patients from work, and let me tell you, she was the most needy and demanding patient I have ever had. Awful experience. I would not have given in after she said she just wanted to be on the mainland. She didn't need anything. You said she could stay, but you didn't have time for her. And then she accepted knowing she needed care. I would have said, look, you need to hire a nurse or something. You're on your own. I told you you could stay, but I didn't have time. Would not have given in there. Because that was just straight up taking advantage. Like she tricked you into that situation. She also seems to be a hypochondriac, and in that week demanded I take her to the ER 2 times in the middle of the night for stuff that was honestly silly, so much so that the ER staff was sick of her on the second visit. I had to go to part-time and stop working while she was recovering for the week, plus she constantly needed stuff from me. No, this is already too much. I No, you said she could stay. You did not sign up to do any caregiving. I would not have taken her to the ER. So you need to go to the ER, call the ambulance. Dial 911 if it's that important to you. No. She didn't like the bed in the guest room downstairs prior to the surgery. So she made me and my husband move the bed that was upstairs downstairs, and the downstairs went upstairs. This is insane. Recently, she visited and admitted that the bed that was downstairs is actually better, and she should have demanded we switch the beds again. She calls often in the middle of the week to ask to stay with us, like once a month or every 6 weeks or so, and wants us to play hooky and go for hikes and stuff. I always tell her that we both work and can't just take time off. Recently, she called with a couple hours' notice that her and her boyfriend needed a place to crash. We said we had a lot going on and can't really entertain, but okay. She said she'd arrive around dinner time. She turns up with her boyfriend, and his cousin. No offer of wine or food or anything. Yes, they said thank you. Next day, boyfriend forgot his phone when they left and needed me to overnight deliver the phone to FedEx to get to him ASAP. I called around, and the nearest town that had a FedEx was 25-minute drive away. I had no bandwidth for the visit, let alone an extra hour of my life to do this emergency errand. I told her I will get to it when I get to it after work. She repaid the fee I paid, but that was it. She complained a bit, so I said he was welcome to get back on the ferry and come claim his phone. Fast forward to today. She asked me a week ago if she could stay with me last night and my husband because she has another medical appointment. She actually wanted to stay 2 nights and have me wait for her at the doctor's office and take her home because she needs anesthesia for the procedure. I told her I have no time to do this. I am barely surviving right now and have so much going on it feels like I'm drowning. She can crash the night before if it helps. We would prefer if she found other arrangements, but if she is stuck, she can stay the 1 night. But I will under no circumstances drive her to the appointment, and I will not be staying with her and taking her home. She agreed. You made your position perfectly clear. It's about time. So, of course, she told me she would be arriving around dinner time last night. Did not offer to bring us anything or ask if we needed anything from town since we live in the boonies. And I know she went shopping because she told me. And it was an hour later than she said. I texted her she was getting off the ferry before she went shopping that I had made crab cakes and remoulade, a zucchini soup, and will have rice and stir-fried broccoli. She responded with a yum emoji. That sounds delicious. She showed up once again empty-handed. She is 51 years old. Never would I go to a friend's place for dinner, let alone expect a clean guest room and her own bathroom to stay in, and show up without, at the very least, a bottle of wine. I normally ask if I can bring dessert or salad or something. She loved dinner and asked if she could take a big takeout container of the soup to eat the next day after surgery. Fine, okay. She is happy to drink our little soda cans and our homemade kombucha and our fresh Italian plums. Be given bags of frozen berries from our farm. She always gets the farm fresh eggs and my homemade sourdough for the breakfast, and I make coffee for myself, so I make extra for her. I think I just reached the point where I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. I am very generous and do not like feeling like this. This is so long for you to finally feel taken advantage of, because it's been this whole friendship for 24 years. Now, this morning I was doing my chores and she is just hanging around and wants to know if I had time to hang out. I told her I have my farm chores and my job, so no, I can't hang out. She is welcome to help me, and that might free up some time for me. I specifically asked if she could help me with one small thing, moving livestock dogs, and she said, no, she's on the phone. She never helped. Did not do dishes, no help with anything. I finished my chores and went to work upstairs in my office. She asked if I was upstairs, so I said yes. She comes up while I am working and starts crying that her friend that was supposed to help pick her up after the procedure is sick and no one else can pick her up from the doctor's office. So me and my husband need to leave work and drive 35 minutes each way to town to pick her up, so husband can drive her car home, and she would spend the night here. She does have another friend's place, but they are not home as she doesn't want to be alone after having had general anesthesia. So here we are, doing what I said I would absolutely not do. I am willing to bet she has anxiety and wakes me up in the middle of the night demanding I take her to the ER. At this point, I think I'm going to write this friend off. Finally. I feel used and it sucks. My husband says I'm being judgmental. What husband? What do you all think? Is she entitled? Would you keep her as a friend? No, under no circumstances. She's horrible. What is your husband thinking? Being judgmental would be writing the friendship off and judging her after one of these instances. Maybe two of these instances. Maybe let it go for 3. This has been 24 years of mistreatment. No. Edit. Time for an update. We picked her up from the appointment and told her we would not be taking her to the ER if she had an emergency. She can call 911. I passive-aggressively told my husband in front of her that he should take her and her car home so I can stop at the store and get wine to bring to our friend's place because we were invited to dinner, and I would be mortified to show up empty-handed. I also made a cake to bring them later that night. Just like putting it out there right in front of her face. We made dinner for ourselves knowing she has leftover soup she demanded. So we made meatloaf, green beans, and potatoes. She decided that looked really good and would eat what we were having. I said, wait, are you eating soup? Because of the procedure? She says she feels up to eating solid food and she will just take the soup home. I bit my tongue because we did have enough and I just want to get her out of my house without her freaking out and doing anything weird. She did do the dishes, which I was really surprised. I can't remember her ever offering to do this. Maybe she took the hint about the bottle of wine and the cake. The next day, she says she wanted to buy some of our farm stuff like duck eggs and whatever we can offer. She bought 3 dozen duck eggs, 1 whole chicken, 4 pounds of ground lamb, and a ton of garlic. I charged full price and she paid $139 for it. We gave her a gallon bag of frozen blueberries from last year because we were going to harvest more at our friend's place that evening and we needed room in our freezer. She asked if she could have some pears and some flowers. I let her thin out some of an overladen pear tree. Now the wild part. She wanted to give her boyfriend's grandma flowers on the way home, so I showed her which flowers she could pick for free. She was eyeing some unopened flower stalks of gladiolus and stargazer and Easter lilies. I told her specifically, do not pick those. I'm going to bring them to the farmer's market to sell on Sunday. I then pointed to all the dahlias and snapdragons she could have for free. I kept doing chores because she was supposed to leave for the ferry any minute, and came back and she had a huge bag of pears with a ton of the lilies peeking out from the bag. I'm telling you, I almost went apeshit on her. I was obviously very angry and said, those are the lilies I specifically told you not to pick. She said, oh, it's not a big deal. What is this, $10 worth? Add it to my bill. She seemed surprised when I came up and saw her as she was hurrying from my garden to her car. So if I didn't catch her, I wouldn't have known until I went to pick the lilies tomorrow and found stumps. I just feel livid and sick, so betrayed, like she was maybe trying to make an effort, but she does this? Like, why? What the actual F? She left, thank goodness, and now I am so done. I mean, yeah, you told her you were going to sell those, so she stole from you when she decided to cut those. Then an Amazon package arrived addressed to me, which is weird. I try not to ever buy on Amazon. I would remember placing an order. It was a wooden toilet seat with a gift receipt saying XOXO, her name. She saw our guest bathroom seat was cracked, so she got us a new one because she spends so much time here. Which is nice and thoughtful. She didn't know that we had ordered a bidet seat that was supposed to arrive any day, so it is a waste, but still thoughtful. I'm still firm in my resolve. I am just done. It is about fluffing time. You are done. This has gone on for 24 years. I can't imagine tolerating this type of behavior for 24 years. It's been such an obvious pattern. I don't think you had enough conversations about it along the way to try to correct the behavior. And I mean, after all this time, she really had no reason to correct the behavior. I think at this point, she's taken advantage of you for so long. She's so used to it working. Because she doesn't take hints. So I feel like even as mad as you were about the lily, she's still going to try to come back. I think the only thing you can do is block her number and keep your doors locked. This behavior has been absolutely insane. That was a wild ride. The fact that your husband doesn't see this, that he thinks you're being judgmental, is also pretty wild to me. But no, you have put up with so much for so long, and you've been a doormat for her. She has walked on you. And you let her, because every time you didn't stick to your word of we're not going to do this, we're not going to do this, you gave in every time. Like, you did train her that she could get away with the behavior. And I don't think you can really untrain her except to just cold turkey cut it off. It doesn't sound like you still have an interest in the friendship. If you did, I would say, don't block her. Next time she asks to come, tell her, no, you're not welcome here anymore. Which effectively ends the friendship. So, and that is more mature thing to do than to just block her. So, yeah, next time she asks to come, tell her she's not welcome. When she asks why, give her all the reasons. If she just shows up, say, oh, hey, actually, we're not accepting guests at the moment. Why? Because you're a horrible guest. You are horrible. And that will probably resolve itself. Yeah, wow. And the first comment, rightly so, says, grow a backbone. It was 2020. Yeah, 24 years later, you're finally growing a backbone. I will admit, I did not grow a backbone until I was at the very end of my 20s. But I did not have one person in my life consistently using me as a doormat. Yeah, I don't think I could tolerate that for that long. There's no way. Okay. Hey, we're going to have time for 2 stories for today. Story number 2, or maybe a couple more because the next one's short. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/entitled people. That's my table. Last summer, I had some time to kill while the car was being worked on and went to a fast food restaurant. It was the middle of the afternoon, and there were no other customers when I walked in the door. The restaurant was arranged with 4 rows of 5 tables, all of them identical and all with the same number of chairs. That's 20 tables. I ordered and sat down. A few minutes later, a man came in and ordered, then sat down on the other end of the room. That's 18 left open. Identical tables. When I was about halfway through my meal, a family came in. They ordered. Then a kid who looked like he was about 8 or 10 years old headed my direction. He walked up to me and said, "Hey, lady, you're going to have to move. That's our table. We always sit there." I ignored the kid. One of the nice things about being a retiree is you can pretend not to hear and people might fall for it. The kid's father came over. I thought he was going to correct his kid because that is what a reasonable person would do. Nope. He told me that they always sit at that table and stared at me. I ignored him. They sat down at the table next to the one where I was sitting and kept accidentally getting into my personal space, then glaring at me every time they did it. I ate slowly, just to annoy them, because they were annoying me. I waited until they were finished eating before getting up and leaving so they could not switch tables. Petty? Maybe. But oh well. That was petty, but that was great. You had the time and you used it well. Because no wonder the kid did that, because the dad is just as immature to be like, oh, there's 18 available tables, but that's the one we always sit in, so you need to move. This is a public space. You're not entitled to that table. Today was not your lucky day. Oh my God. And the way you just ignored them so calmly, good for you, because I don't think I could have. My nerves would have been sky high. And the first comment says, I am a retired old lady. Don't mess with me. I have all the time in the world to be petty. Really, you do. And why not? And the next comment says, not retired, but middle-aged. I'll make as much time as needed to be petty in that sort of situation. Good for you. Okay. Story number 3 is coming to us from r/entitled people. My fun is more important than your laws. What do you mean 45 misdemeanors and 5 felonies? From Clinton County, Michigan. A 26-year-old man-child was arraigned on July 23rd in 65A District Court over his hobby of driving around, shining deer, shooting them from his car, then driving away and leaving them to rot. Killing just for fun. Horrible. Throw the book at him. Shining is the banned practice of shining a bright light in their eyes, which makes them freeze. This is why a deer in the headlights will just stand still and stare at a car until they get hit. Why do they do that? Deer reasons. A deer biologist might know. Considered grossly unsportsmanlike, it is banned just about everywhere. Real hunters don't need to do this. Immature losers who can't get a deer any other way. This prime specimen of I is cool, mighty killings hunter. You all are jealous and not super cool. Bam bang. Hunty guy like me. was spotted by a passerby sitting in his car, shining a deer out of season with a suppressed rifle in a semi-rural area. Not lots of housing everywhere, but enough sprawl that there's always somebody else around. The passerby called the anti-poaching tip line, which only outdoorsy people know about, and the kid was busted. After an investigation, he was hit with multiple counts, including taking game without a license, improper method of take, game out of season, 6 counts each of shining with a weapon in possession and taking game from a vehicle, multiple counts of encased weapon in a vehicle, reckless firearm, and the 5 felony weapons offenses the MSN article did not specify. Recovered in the investigation were the videos of himself having his fun. You even videoed it. No. You gave them evidence. I mean, and the first comment says, real smart to video it for his friends to see. You never give them evidence, but apparently you're dumb anyway. Because it's not a rural area. If there's always somebody around, this is not rural. It's just not urban. It's maybe more suburban. 45 misdemeanors and 5 felonies. It wasn't worth it. It's not worth it. Yeah, we love hunting. I don't always get a deer every year because I'm probably not the best at it. I try really hard, but I don't always get one every year. But then there are people like this who don't even want the meat, who just kill them because they can. Like, if you just want to go out killing, okay, get your deer tag, go out and kill one, donate it, give it to somebody who needs it or who wants it. Just the idea of either letting it rot or killing it for its antlers. Nope, can't handle it. Okay, that was 3 stories for this week's episode of Petty Please. Thank you so much for being here for another episode of the Misty Morrison Podcast. Remember, start each day with a grateful heart. Kindness changes everything. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.